Stop lying to yourself. Take accountability for your actions and see yourself in a mirror. Now, what do you mean by that, Luke? Well, the fact is that I don't think you reflect enough. I don't think any of us reflect enough. You have to reflect on their past, on your past, and understand the future. Well, how do you do that? Well, you need to take accountability for your actions and say, I did that wrong. I did that right. I did that wrong. How can I improve in the future? I reflect every day of my life on everything that's ever happened to me. And as new things come up, I reflect on old memories that I haven't thought about in a while. I think it's important to keep thinking about these things and to never stop thinking about them. If you start forgetting your past, how can you predict your future? If you start forgetting any of your memories, if you start forgetting, some of the things that you've done, you start to forget the experiences and lessons that you've learned. Another thing is that I think you should take yourself more seriously. At the end of the day, if you want other people to take you seriously, you need to stop joking so much. Like, I like to joke, but I can get serious. But often your perception means everything. It's not even the fact that you are professional and courteous and kind and perfect at 90% of the time. That 10% of the time that you're not professional, people remember you by, good and bad. That means that all of their experience with you is that. So I think it's something that I've learned about reputation-wise recently, is that if you want to protect your reputation, you have to be pretty much stellar. And I know I've already touched on this on another video. I must sound very redundant, but it's really a lifelong struggle, and really it's some of the only struggles. I know that I'm probably going to repeat a lot of my sayings in a lot of videos, so this is going to sound like self-affirmations, and it probably is. Because at the end of the day, if I keep saying these values to myself over and over, and let's be real, I'm probably going to make duplicate videos at some point that are going to overlap a little bit. I completely understand if that can be annoying, but you already know what to do. You already know that you need to do these things. You already know that you need to learn a little bit more about communication. You already know that you need to learn how to talk to people better, how to have fun, how to have better hobbies, how to make more money, and how to be more successful. You already know that you must accomplish these things. I'm simply telling you over and over and over again. And I'm telling myself that too. And the least you can do is at least have it in the back of your mind that you need to preserve those things. You need to think about those things and keep them on your mind. Because it is an everyday struggle. You are not just a magical, perfect person one day. No, it takes years, decades of work to be a respectable person. You can't just magically be popular overnight. It doesn't work like that. You have to start providing value to people. Well, how do you provide value? Well, you gotta network. You gotta put yourself out there. You gotta be kind to a lot of people. You gotta give to a lot of people and not receive as much. Hopefully receive a little bit, but at the end of the day, you have to provide value to people, and hopefully that's not monetary. But it's even often in reflection. Be a therapist to people, even though you're not a therapist. Make people laugh. Do really well at your job and be very knowledgeable to the point where you are dependent on by your coworkers and also other people. I think if you're depended on by other people at your job, it's very good. If you're a problem solver, be a really good problem solver. And soon people will start coming to you with the problems all the time. And you may not be able to solve them all. You might not be able to fix everything that they ever do. But at the end of the day, you're able to help 90% of people, let's say. The other 10% is out of your capacity. You still help 90 people, or 90%, which is pretty good. What am I getting at here? This might be a little ramble. I don't know. Today's a Saturday, so I really didn't do anything today. I just kind of hung out, went to the gym. I'm going to be going to the Knights Library tonight. You might see this by Sunday morning, probably. But, I'm just going to have fun. Just going to enjoy myself. I'm going to go take a shower, eat some food before heading out. Pretty excited. I don't think that you should, man, it's hard to say. I think that you should put yourself out there. I think that we should fill out our schedules. I think if you reflect back on yourself, I think this is really a video about reflection now that I think about it. If I reflect on myself, you have a weekly usage on your phone. And it says how much activity you spent on your phone throughout the week. On each app, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter. All these things, they add up over time. And you start to go, I see now. Yep. I spent how many hours? Don't get me wrong, I mean, at least you're spending your time, but quite honestly, what are you spending your time doing at that point? I think the problem with people right now is that we're so sucked into our technology. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm basically doing one of two things. I am either driving to work and listening to music. Two things, way more. I listen to a podcast when I wake up in the morning, sometimes music, sometimes silence. It's only 10 minutes. In the shower, I've tried to play music and YouTube videos so I am not in the shower on my own. When I go to sleep, I'm knocked out, which means that there's no music. Some people like white noise, so they might even have sounds of nature playing when they go to sleep. When you're driving in your car, you have music or podcast going. When you go to work, you have an earbud in. You're listening to music in idle time, and then when you're talking to people, you're focused on them. When you get out of work and you go to the gym, you get hype-up music. And then you've got motivational music that's playing in your ears while you're at the gym. Then on the way home, you're either talking to yourself or into a camera like this, or maybe you're, listening to a podcast or some music. I'm starting to see the pattern. When I get home, I'm going to shower, throw on a YouTube video, and eat some food, and then head out and listen to music, and then listen to music at a club, and then go home and listen to some music. Our lives are filled with technology. Our lives are filled with music, and we really like music. But we really like podcasts. We like information. We're consumers. We consume data. Whether or not we really retain any of it doesn't really matter. But I'm starting to consciously choose what I listen to. I'm trying to consciously choose what I see with my eyes. I think it's important to do that because, quite honestly, you could be on your TikTok or your phone for how many hours a day, and you're like, dang, I got up at 7, it's 12 p.m. all I've done is scroll. So then you're like, okay, fine, I'll throw on a TV show. So now you're gonna meaninglessly watch a TV show for the next 5 hours because it's better than being on your phone, because it's TV and it's long format, and at least you'll be able to talk about it later, I guess. But you're still watching a TV show. I mean, I'm telling you this because this is me. This is what I do. So I'm excited that I'm going out tonight. Can you go out every night? No, that is very hedonistic. Do not go out to a bar every single night after work and on your days off. Every single day. Do not go out to a restaurant every single night of every, that's crazy. Unless you're rich, I don't know. I'm assuming you're going to have a couple nights in. But what I mean is that I think you should consciously understand how it affects your brain if you do a certain thing. If you think a certain thing, or maybe you interact with something in a certain way, I think you should understand how that affects you mentally. I think it's important to understand how you perceive the world and what information you put into your brain. It's kind of like medicine. The information that you consume, you should take more care of. You should be more conscious about it. You should be a little bit more careful about what you use and consume in your day-to-day life. If you're not careful, you'll be extremist. You'll be some crazy person that believes in some crazy religion or maybe some crazy political ideology. It's important to be a centered person that is reflective on oneself. To see yourself in a mirror and others and truly understand where they're coming from and their values. God damn it, this thing. Hang on. Anyways, let's get back to it. So, I think it's man, I keep saying this. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. This may not be an A-list video, but I just need to get some thoughts out, I guess. That's one good thing about these videos is I've really been able to get my thoughts out of my head. And my anxiety, I guess, I'm not an anxiety-riddled person. I've always been pretty chill. But there has been certain instances where I can't go to sleep because I'm awake. And part of that is because I've got to keep doing something. I have to keep obsessing over something. These videos have really helped with my obsessions because it's giving me an outlet to sap all my energy into. I'm learning a little bit about how to talk to people and how to just think stuff up on the spot. Something I've not been very good at in the past. But I'm also just getting my thoughts out there to the world. And that's pretty important too. So I know that every single video is going to be a crazy banger, or I'm going to have some crazy idea. I'm pretty excited about my last video about honesty. I thought I was pretty on target with that. And I think that it really just takes a work day where I'm up and at 'em and I'm talking to people. I just haven't talked to people today, so there's not many interactions that I've really clicked with. I don't really have a topic per se. So I guess this is a good summary of the week, I guess you could say. I'm just relaxing, I'm calm, I'm collected, and I'm just focused on what's my next step. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up for church. I mean, it's going to be rough. I don't think that's possible. But Sunday will be a good day of recovery for me before going into work again. I have been having to work until 5 p.m. now, so now my shifts are about 9 hours a pop. 9 to 7, 8 to 5, or 8 to 12, 4, plus 5. 9.5 hours, 9 hours times 5. So 45 hours a week. and the occasional week where I work a 4-hour shift. So I'm pulling 45 to 49 hours a week right now. The OT is crazy. I don't make that much money, but it's pretty great, I guess. I'm starting to understand some things. I'm not sure what they are. But my head is clear, and I spent a lot of time at work, so there's work drama that happens from time to time, and I think I understand that my work is starting to consume me, and I like to dive into my work. Quite honestly, it's the one thing that I do all the time. I enjoy work. I've had busy days at work, but I never like to say that I've had a bad day at work. Quite honestly, it's all about mindset. Even surrounded by chaos, you can still have an amazing day. You just laugh at it instead of cry. You can smile instead of cower in fear. So, when you have a bad day at work, just change your mind about it. And go, it was a busy day at work. But at the end of the day, get home and understand that you have a whole life ahead of you. And if you're going to hold on to a crappy day at work, you ain't going to live very long. It's called stress. I try to reduce as much of that as possible. So don't do that. I think I think that at work I'm going to start being a little bit quieter, a little bit more reserved. Still be very actionable with patients. I'm going to be very energetic with them. But I think I'm just going to pull back work-wise with coworkers, because quite frankly, they can't be trusted. You can't trust coworkers. And a friend made a good point to me, and I know I've said this in a video before, but he said, your friends are not your coworkers. And your coworkers are not your friends. And at first I was appalled by that, because up until then, I've met all my friends through work and nothing else. And I think that a lot of friends that you do make are from work, and that's okay. But I'm starting to understand that if you nitpick who you spend time with, you start really figuring out, and you go, I don't really like this person as much as I thought I did. And I'm starting to understand that more. And there's some people that have fatal flaws about them that I still love them for it. I still love them as friends. But at the end of the day, they have just a fatal flaw that I just don't want to surround myself with, and I don't want that on me. You know what I mean? So, I would say, innocent until proven guilty. As long as you don't give me a red flag, I'm pretty good. And even if you do give me a red flag, I acknowledge it, and I still want to be your friend. But it's 2 or 3 that add up over the course of time that I go, I don't know. What's scary is, from the way I've been raised, from the way I've been brought up, I feel like I'm in a center point. I think that has to do with being an only child, where I'm not slacking off enough to have fun with the other slackers, but I'm not successful enough to be with successful people. So I'm right in the middle, where I'm the coolest slacker ever. Even though I'm not a slacker, I'm a little bit above that, and they respect me. But I'm also not successful. I'm ambitious, And successful people acknowledge that and admire that. But at the end of the day, I can't hang around successful people yet either. So I'm in a spot in my life where it's very hard to make successful friends. But we're going to keep working on it. Anyways, I'll catch you later. Thanks for reflecting with me.